Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Vice President of Product Management, Dassault Systems SolidWorks, Fielder Hiss.
Good morning, and welcome to the second day of SolidWorks World 2012 here in beautiful San Diego. And on behalf of SolidWorks, let me be the first person to wish all of you a happy Valentine's Day. Now, for those of you who forgot, don't worry. We've included that reminder with your price of admission to the conference today. Did everyone have a great first day? There was a lot of outstanding content, a lot of good things went on. What did everyone think of Tony Fadell and Joe yesterday? I love Tony's view of innovation and how teams should work together. He had 3 big points. Find your heroes, build your team with trust, passion, and curiosity, and then most importantly, treat everyone equal. It's a real recipe and something I think we all can learn from in each and every day. I hope everyone enjoyed all the breakout sessions. There was a lot of great content out there for everyone at the conference. Now today we have a great day, a great morning. We're going to celebrate the community, and as always, we're going to talk about a couple really cool customers. Now certification is an important part of our community and a big point of pride for the community. Last night I was lucky enough to attend the CSWP party with over 800 other certified professionals and experts. Did everyone have a good time there? The party, for those of you who didn't go, was actually at the USS Midway aircraft carrier. And this is once actually an active aircraft carrier that was used in the Vietnam War as well as Operation Desert Storm. Now, because not everyone could go, I thought I'd bring a sneak peek back from what happened at the event. Let's roll the video. Outstanding event and outstanding time. And what's really cool about that is on Sunday, we certified 57 additional CSWPs who were able to attend that event last night. So congratulations to each and every one of you new CSWPs. Now, the party's getting big, over 800 people. So next year, the event's only going to be for certified SolidWorks experts. Now, the CSWEs are really the top guns. They're the guys that can solve any and every problem at your company. So to make sure you can go next year, I encourage each and every one of you to begin studying for this exam because it's really tough. Now, SolidWorks World will never be able to happen each and every year without our sponsors. And we've had one sponsor, Hewlett-Packard, who supported us since the very first SolidWorks World. Please join me in welcoming on stage Tom Solomon from Hewlett-Packard. Tom.
Can you hear me? My mic on? You can hear me? Okay. All right, good. Had to test that, and make sure we don't have any technical difficulties. So I only have a few minutes, but I just wanted to share some thoughts I had about SolidWorks World. And a lot of you were here last year, and think back for a minute when you were here last year, and when the economy wasn't doing as good, unemployment in the US was 9.1%, jobs were growing at an anemic 100,000 a month, and this year, unemployment's down to still shaky at 8.3, but jobs are up. We're doing 256,000 jobs a year, and last year, probably a lot of you were worried about your jobs and your company, and this year, a little study I saw said that about 60% of you are working at your capacity right now. And that's really a huge change. And manufacturing's leading the market, and it's with designers like you that are doing it and driving cool design. So you should give yourselves a hand for that, because it really is a big deal. And just like you, when we think about last year at HP, 1 year is like dog years, right? Products change and change. And you may not know this, but we don't have any products in our booth that haven't been announced in the last 6 months, right? Everything in our booth is very new and very current. And we push the limits to design, just like the guy talked about yesterday, with our mobile workstations, right? We not only have the power of a desktop in there, but we really push the design on ruggedness. So those workstations have been dropped in our testing 26 times. They can't break, and they still have to work as normal. And so that is really pushing the edge of the design for the mobile workstations. We're pushing the edge of the design for our desktop workstations with faster processors and great new graphics cards, and that's going along really well. And then this year, we introduced a new display technology. So if you notice, you can see those displays at 178 degrees, and they're brighter and clearer. So that technology is being pushed. And our large format printer technology is also much more improved in performance and also in cost. So great things there. And if you come to our booth, we're giving away a mobile workstation or a desktop workstation or a large format printer if you enter our contest. And we're really happy to announce that we also have 6 brand new Intel solid-state disk drives, 480 gigabytes. We'll be giving those away too. So if you enter our drawing, you really have a chance to win some great things. And in our booth, I didn't mention that we've introduced, and this is the second show we have it at, a new touch technology. So we're really trying to bring new technologies here for you to see. And then, as a surprise, you're going to be the first customers to see this new workstation that we've designed, and it's really cool, and you have to come to see it. We're going to unveil it today in our booth at 2:30, and it will really be something you want to see. You want to take a picture of it, or take you with a picture of the workstation, because this is a big change in the industry, and we're very happy to show it here at SolidWorks, and you'll be the first customers that will see it. And those people that show up, we're going to give away a t-shirt. And if you wear that t-shirt to the event tonight, and I hope you're all going because it's going to be great fun, we're going to have people going around giving away gifts to anybody that wears a t-shirt, even if you wear it under your coat or something. So anyway, so with that, I'm going to leave you and have a great SolidWorks and a great year.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Tom, and thanks as always to Hewlett Packard. I know if there's one thing this crowd loves, it's free stuff. So, all right, like Bertrand told you yesterday, community is really at the forefront of our business at SolidWorks. Community is one of the many reasons that you actually come to SolidWorks World. SolidWorks World is actually our largest user group meeting that we have every year. Thousands happen around the world throughout the year, but this is our largest. So here to introduce you to some of our user group leaders, please welcome Community Manager Richard Doyle. Richard.
You know, it's appropriate that we're here on Valentine's Day to shine a spotlight on our user group leaders, because I love every single one of them. I love their passion. I love their energy. I love the fact that they take time away from friends and family to provide you a place to learn more about SolidWorks software, to share knowledge with each other, and to have some fun. And I'd really love it if you'd all give them a big round of applause. Come on. "2011 was another great year for the SolidWorks User Group Network, with 21 new chapters joining the network. SolidWorks User Groups are now in 44 US states, 5 Canadian provinces, and 27 other countries around the world. From Los Angeles, California to Tangerang City, Indonesia, the SolidWorks User Group Network extends to all corners of the world. I love that too. With that many groups, the odds of a local chapter being in your area are very good. It's easy to join, just show up for a meeting. It's free, it's informative, it's fun. Visit the SWGN website, find a group page, type in your geographical information, and chances are you'll see something like this come up on the screen. If you don't have a SolidWorks user group in your area, consider starting one. The SWGN committee has made it easy by providing almost everything you need, from forms and templates to sample agendas, even some advice on what kind of food to serve. SolidWorks Corporation will fund your group and will provide some pretty cool stuff for you to give away at your meetings. All you need is a little bit of time and a passion for helping others and a thirst for more knowledge about SolidWorks software. Now, while every user group leader deserves the recognition they get as being champions for SolidWorks users everywhere, each year one group leader and one user group rise to the top. They're recognized for their outstanding service. The User Group of the Year award takes into consideration attendance, growth, regular meetings, and a leader or leadership board that works very hard to serve their members. This year's award goes to just such a group. Already one of the largest user groups in the world, average attendance continues to increase, and the leadership continues to provide quality technical information and fun meetings. Please congratulate this year's User Group of the Year, the New Hampshire SolidWorks User Group. Nominations for the Group Leader of the Year follow pretty much the same criteria, with a few intangibles thrown in. In addition to providing those regular meetings and outstanding technical information, the User Group Leader of the Year shoots for the stars for promoting their user group, shows a passion for making sure that you end up in a chair 4 or 5 times a year, and constantly strives to make the user group experience something that you wouldn't want to miss. This year's award goes to a relative newcomer, having started her user group in 2010. In just over a year, she's made quite an impact on her members and the SolidWorks User Group Network as a whole. A big round of applause, please, for the 2011 User Group Leader of the Year, Rachel York. Unfortunately, Rachel couldn't be here with us today, but Ed Giba and I will present her award at her March 6th meeting. If you're in the Albany, New York area, I hope you'll join us for that one. Our final award today was created in memory of SWGN founder Michelle Pillars. The Michelle Pillars SWGN Community Award recognizes achievement in the SolidWorks community above and beyond the call. Always willing to answer questions, always willing to help SolidWorks users, providing additional resources and sharing their passion for SolidWorks engineering and design. This year's recipient is a pretty special guy. One of the top-rated SolidWorks Forum participants in history, a regular SolidWorks World presenter, a user group presenter, and owner-operator of swtoots.com. Let's bring him on up here, Charles Culp. If you've never attended a SolidWorks user group meeting, you're really missing out on something. These people over here, these user group leaders, they've put together something very, very special, and they deserve your attention. I can almost guarantee that if you get yourself to one user group meeting, you'll have a hard time staying away. So get connected, get involved, and get educated at a SolidWorks user group meeting. I would really love that. Thank you.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks to all the user group leaders. What you do each and every day around the world, really building the community, is outstanding. And there's some of the funnest things for us as SolidWorks employees to actually get to attend. Now, many of you know that each and every year we use SolidWorks World as an opportunity to introduce you to some of our coolest and most unique customers. This next customer that we have is extreme, really, really extreme. So to talk about that, please join me in welcoming our Director of Marketing Operations, Darren Henry. Darren.
Thanks. Passion for great design has our next guest on an incredible journey. Their obsession for extreme vehicles has caught the attention not only of the United States government, but rescue and police organizations around the world. Now Discovery Channel has taken an interest, and they have a show. It's Black Ops Brothers, Howe Howe Technology. Let's take a look. Pretty intense. Please welcome Jeff and Mike Howe.
Darren, thanks for having us, brother.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
So we have twins.
We are.
Designs in your DNA.
It is.
I want to ask so many questions. I want to ask how you got started in this. Can you tell us a little bit about your first project?
Yeah, sure. You know, it often starts out, but actually before I have to ask, we had a conversation backstage, Mike and I did. I need to know, because it looks like there's a lot of engineers here, obviously. Is it going to be Star Trek or Star Wars? Which one? Star Wars, there we go. I'm Star Wars too. Yeah, I'm Star Wars myself. Are there any Trekkie fans here? There are Trekkie fans here? All right, we don't want to start a fight or anything, so you guys may want to move seats. Trekkie fans are very dedicated. They are. I think Star Trek fans are more dedicated. Anyway, our history starts, a lot of people ask us, you know, big question. How'd you do it? Where did it start? Those are some of the real big questions that we often answer. And it's funny, my mother sent us a picture about a year ago. Hadn't seen it in years, and it kind of brought back the memories of where Mike and I started our endeavors. And it started really back when we were young. Because I think we always had it, and I'm sure there's a lot in this group that have always had it, and kind of started at a young age. We were 8 years old when really our first program got started. We call them programs. And our first one was a simple log cabin. And it sounds small. Is there a picture of it? There it is. Look at that thing. I got that picture a year ago. It looks like nothing, but there's really a fascinating story of that's where we started. Mike and I, our father wasn't around when we were younger. My mother was a teacher, bringing up 3 children. And really, we didn't have money. We didn't have any way to really build and do our designs that we wanted. We were continually taking apart can openers. I remember getting shocked. First time I got whacked with 120, I don't know, I was 6 or 7 years old, and it was by a can opener. And I was so upset about that. And I said, at that point, never again. I did get shocked later on in life, as we probably all have, but stay away from 120. That's the lesson on that one. But the log cabin really kind of symbolizes where we needed to go and what we needed to do. Mike and I, if you've seen the show, you know what we're all about. It needs to be bigger. It needs to be badder. It needs to be the best. It needs to be, better than anything else. And it started at a young age. I mean, all our other friends had, their cabins, or not even log cabins. They had their little forts, and we saw their forts. And Mike and I said, okay, well, we have no money, but we have the will, which will give us the way, and we will do a log cabin to kind of upstage everybody. And we did. We set out to do it. This log cabin was not built with chainsaws. It wasn't built with anything electrical. It was built with one hand axe. I remember we'd come back from school with blisters and get off the bus and head down and build it and chop down the trees and get it done. Except one time, coming home from school, knock on the door. And it was really a depressed time. It was a problem because I'll never forget it. My mother getting yelled at by the neighbor because we cut down all his trees. Oh. True story. And we did. I mean, we took the best trees. I mean, they were straight. They were just beautiful. We didn't take any of the, and getting into this is failure. Right off the get-go, boom, we have it built. It's 4 feet tall. It's not finished. It's just a half shack at this point. Yeah. And so we realized, you know what, we're going to fail on this one. I guess we'll put a roof on it, and it's failure. But we learned at a young age, failure really isn't not an option for us. So we toiled with it. What are we going to do? We have no lumber. We have no 2x4s. We have no nails. We can't cut down any more trees. What are we going to do? A week later, we decide, you know what, you can't build up, you build down. So we saved up a little bit of our money from our allowance. I think we got 75 cents a week back in the day. Which would buy an 80-pound bag of concrete. That's right, 80-pound bag of mortar. We dug down diligently, laid the foundation, and gave it a little floor. And that is really our first program. And you can even see there, we did hand split. Just a funny point of that picture. First of all, that big log on the top, that was a big one. I remember that one, chopping away at that. You can see it's unfinished. We just decided not to keep cutting it. It's even got a zip line, that pole attached to it is a zip line that goes over the pond. So we had fun while we were doing it. Long story short, the log cabin kind of story was where we started and where we started to learn, you know what, we're just not going to stop. We're going to keep going, and we're never going to fail. We certainly will fail, but we certainly will push forward. And that's really the start. At 8 years old, 8 to 9 years old, the story of the log cabin. That's when we got snow back then as well.
That's amazing. Great story. And I like the way how you designed around the challenge.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward to the extreme vehicles you guys are producing. You're producing quite a bit. You started with the concept of Ripsaw.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're familiar with Ripsaw. It's the one in the bottom corner here. Now, this was actually a passion project as well, much like the log cabin. It was just you two guys getting together. And I know that when you decide to do something, you seal that with a handshake.
Yeah.
And that's how this worked. Nobody was contracting you to do this.
Right. And that's the sign of our company and what we do. We really are out there to innovate. And not necessarily innovate through requirements, but innovate because that's what we do. We're inventors and we like to innovate. So, for example, I'll go to Jeff and be like, I have a really good idea here.
I'll be like,
I want to make, yeah, and he's usually like that. I want to make the world's fastest tracked vehicle ever assembled. 16 inches of suspension, make it more like a Baja race ride than a tank. And so I'll go to him and say, I think we should do it. Now his typical response is, absolutely not. We don't have any money, we can't do this, we can't do that. So I'm kind of the pragmatic, I'll think through it. So I'm selling my brother before we even try to sell it to the public or anything. And I usually win, so it'll be like, he'll come to my side and say, okay, and we'll do this. Now the second we shake, and we've paused actually just like this several times and walked away and said, okay. Because what this means for us is true sense of commitment. And the second that we shake, it's getting done unless we die. Now, that may mean that we have to remortgage our house, which is done, Jeff had to do twice for the Ripsaw because back then we really didn't have the funding. But we get to it and we say, okay, this is it, boom. Once that's done, it's now a rolling program. And we have to basically put every material that we have behind it. If we have the finances, that's finances. Refinancing a house, yes, you have to do that. And so we continually, push the envelope and try to find no limitation. I mean, it's very easy to find excuses, but we find that, there's no limitation. We can actually build this thing. And the unique thing with this vehicle is it was a massive engineering challenge because track vehicles aren't designed to go 80 miles an hour. You have huge tracks that weigh 3,000 to 4,000, 5,000 pounds. How do you spin those so fast that they don't fly off the machine? How do you make a track vehicle to have 16 inches of suspension and M1A has about 6 to 8? How do you do that and not make it so when the suspension compresses and the track does not, it doesn't fly off? Well, we looked at a different track suspension and we didn't find anything out there. So we knew we had to do it from scratch. But just because we couldn't find anything in a track vehicle does not mean that there's nothing else out there that we couldn't look at to emulate and kind of get a head start. What goes on a track at high speeds that if it comes off, it can kill you? And the answer was a chainsaw. So we took a look at that design and said, if we kind of make our tracks a little bit like a chainsaw and guide it like a chainsaw, I think we can solve this problem. That with an active take-up on the suspension system and a couple other things we developed allowed us to create a vehicle that today the Army has bought and is now using just from thinking outside the box and taking, not taking no for an answer because we were financially strapped at first with this program.
And the Ripsaw basically too was a ground up vehicle. It was a ground up design. And that was really important because we took a look at it and we said, wow, we need to change this, we need to change that, we have to really start from scratch, ground up, take a look at the tracks, take a look at the suspension, take a look. So it really grew from the ground up instead of a program that's morphed onto another program, morphed on another program.
Let me expound on that a little bit more as far as system theory and how that works. One thing we do is we do not get overwhelmed by the big picture.
Yeah.
We take each thing, and we call it strat, system theory research, and we attack each problem individually and attempt to solve the bigger problem. Now this project here had a lot of different problems, from how do you drive that track, how do you keep the track on, how do you steer, how do you have, you have differential steering, how do you do that and hold 14,000 foot-pounds of torque? How do you do it in this package, how do you do it small? Where do we get the power from? How do we get that much power? So there's all kinds of different issues that you come across, and what we decided to do was let's solve each individual problem first. So we solved the track problem, we solved the suspension problem, we solved the motor problem, we solved the final drive, which by the way, the final drive, for everybody out here that likes to crunch numbers, we clutch 14,000 foot-pounds of force in a 14 by 3 inch disc.
Open environment.
Open environment. Never been done before, to our knowledge. And so these are some of the challenges that we had to basically find out solutions for one by one. And that's the key, Darren, one by one, finding out and not getting overwhelmed by that bigger picture. So that's the Ripsaw story in a nutshell. And actually, an interesting story to that is actually how the Army actually found and discovered Ripsaw.
Yeah, I'll kind of take that. How we got money, and it's probably pretty important to a lot of the younger inventors out there now that want to do it, and that's another question that we get a lot is, how did you guys do it? How can I do it? How can we, do it in this environment? And basically, we decided to take our invention. We heard of a great thing. It was called the DARPA Grand Challenge 2005, and I'm sure a lot of you guys know what the DARPA Grand Challenge was, but basically, it's an autonomous robotic event. We decided to take the Ripsaw, which was manual drive at the time, and challenge ourselves even further. And that challenge is really twofold. One, make it remote control, and then two, make that remote control autonomous, and then enter into the DARPA Grand Challenge 2005. How do you do this without any money? Well, we worked our jobs. Every Friday we'd come by, put the money into the pot, this is how much we have, this is how much we have. We put our feet to the ground. We went out and solicited. Out of all the solicitations that we did for probably a year to try to get into this race, we got one that gave us money, and that was Underwood Engineers, and they were an engineering group that we work with, wonderful, can't talk to them, but basically they gave us $10,000 to enter. I had to refinance my house, not once, but twice. And we did it. We did the DARPA Grand Challenge 2005. Out of 179 teams, we qualified 41st. It wasn't great, but we were going up against universities with major endowments. We were going up with companies with major money. It was Mike and I, a team of volunteers that we collected from the universities like UNH, UMO, collectively got together and said, hey, we can do this. We did it. We actually did not compete in the race because we couldn't find the money to get out to California. But we qualified here or over in Maine. So that's the story. Boom, another failure story. Well, we kind of did it, but we almost didn't do it. That leads into, what are we going to do now? DARPA Grand Challenge was done. Luckily, because we did that, they called us back 6 months later, and they were doing an automotive show, DC Auto Show in DC. And because it was a unique track vehicle like that, it's never been seen before, it was autonomous, and this was before autonomy was, autonomy 2005, kind of the next branch in what we're doing. They invited us. We have to get down there.
Yeah, so we had zero money. I know this is kind of a common theme, but we didn't. It's kind of the story of our younger life. And so we asked them, we said, look, we'll make it down there if you guys can pay us to come down. We just don't have any money. They kind of chuckled, they laughed, they said, look guys, there's 167 teams we can choose from. We chose you guys as one of 3. You guys just find a way to come down here, or we're gonna pick somebody else. So at that point I turned to Jeff and I said, I think we had $350 to go down there. Yeah. Now that's with truck and trailer, and we had budgeted everything out, and we found out that $350 would basically get us down there. But we didn't know how we were gonna get back, but at that point, we'll figure it out when we get there, let's just get there. So we hit the road, we went down there, and our exhibit was right next to, lo and behold, the United States Army robotic exhibit. So we're pretty happy with that. An interesting thing happened. Through about 3 days of exhibit, the Army kept realizing something through this exhibit, that every time the lights went down and we shut our robot off, their robots would actually start working and would actually start functioning well. So they came over to us, one of the lieutenants came over to us and said, hey, do you guys notice something every time that they shut the power down here, that your robot starts working right? And we're like, no, I mean, ours has been working since we got here, it works great. Well, what we found out was we developed such a powerful system, such an encrypted system, that our system from Maine, from the Howe Brothers of Maine, was actually shutting down the US Army's robots. Remember, go big or go home. Now, I'm not saying these radios might have been legal, but so the moral of the story is, opportunity. When opportunity presents itself, you never know when it's going to happen. The Army ended up coming up to us and said, hey, we need this, guys. We're going to help you guys get funded. This is a great technology. And that finally got the ball rolling, so I don't have to talk about us not having funding anymore. But it really is about opportunity. And that's how the Ripsaw story unfolded.
Yeah, it's a great story. It seemed like you had some marketing designed into the...
Yeah, we sure did.
What's interesting though is they are still a small manufacturer in Maine, and they now win, now that they have the attention of the government, they're winning great contracts, and now you're competing against the big boys. Yeah. I know there's major contractors in your market, but you still constantly win. What's your advantage?
That's a great question, Darren, and we're proud to say that we compete against the 4 big boys, being just 2 brothers from Maine, with speed and efficiency. And that's the key. That's the niche that the smaller companies can really thrive on. And we do that with SolidWorks. We do that with the interface of SolidWorks and how it's so intuitive. We can actually design so quickly. And Jeff can kind of give an example of, hold on, Jeff. This arm here that we're looking at is only 3 weeks old. We just developed it. Jeff, go ahead.
Speed is really critical, and like Mike touched upon it, without speed we're nothing. Because that is our big advantage over the multi-billion-dollar industries that we're competing against. This is a robotic arm right here. 3 weeks old, 4 weeks old. I was going on vacation, and this robotic arm really is, we had a problem that we needed to solve, and that is basically we need a robotic arm that's not electric. This is basically built for some of our philanthropic stuff that we're sending back to the firefighters. And they need something that can get wet, possibly even go underwater. And Mike and his engineering team sat down and said, look, we're all pointing to hydraulic. Has it been done before? In this size, this much weight, can it have this much force? We couldn't find it. So Mike and his team sat down and said, you know what, we're going to design. I said, Mike, hold on. We have to think about this, kind of go through it. Is this really a program? We have all these other programs that we have to do. Should we really allocate our resources? Mike said, you know what, I'm going to get it done. It's just going to get done really quickly. I said, okay. I left for Florida. I get down there, a day later on my iPhone, I literally got a picture of that and another picture of that already rendered, done. A week later, or that day it went to our fabrication center, and a week later we had that arm fully functioning. So 9 days with the design. I don't know how many guys you had on that team designing it. Two people designing it. In 2 days, I don't know how many hours you guys stayed up, 25 hours?
There were some late nights there, but let's just take a look at the big picture of this specific robotic arm. Everybody builds these now, right? Well, not like this. This one is a hydraulic rotary coupled. It's of 6 axes, 5 are rotary free axes, all hydraulic motors, and we can pull 2,000 pounds. We can pick up 2,000 pounds with this arm. It only weighs 300 pounds. So not only was it quick, it was innovative. And we did that with SolidWorks, and we did that with some motivation. So, another nice feature when it comes down to it, as innovators, how good are you at innovating and getting your product out there if you think it in your head, but you can't get it out to other people?
Right.
And that's where SolidWorks and the rendering capabilities of this comes into effect, where you need to be able to convey it so people can understand it. And I've been asked many times on some of the renderings, are those real pictures? No, they're just renderings. And so it's a really good tool to be able to allow us to actually sell what we think.
Yeah. We're glad to be a part of that.
Thank you.
So we visited Howe and Howe in Maine, and we sat down with Jeff, and one of the things that really struck us as interesting is how much you give back. And it's not only spending time with different charities, but you actually use your design talents, to give back and help people.
Sure.
Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. If anybody's seen the program on Discovery Channel, the most influential and profound project that we did was the Rip Chair right there. Yes, we have other programs all over here, and we do many, but that one right there was real. About as real as it can get. It touched us in our hearts. It touched us. It touched everybody in the program that was working. It's called the Rip Chair. For a guy named Rocky, who is a vet who basically spent his time providing us freedom, and in the meantime lost his freedom. And he wanted to just get out and do what we take for granted every day. He wanted to go out and explore, fish, hunt. Can't do it anymore. Even if it's a river on the side of a road, he can't do it. So we said, look, we're going to do this for you. Our cost, we're going to get it done. So we built the Rip Chair. And the Rip Chair he owns now, and he's driving it and giving us feedback. And that actually spawned into another program, and this kind of fits into the philosophy that Mike and I have. If we don't give back, how good are we? If we don't give back to society, if we don't give back, what are we going to die? Maybe multi-millionaires or billionaires? I don't want that. I want to give back. And so our push is to push the younger people, push everybody just to give back, and how much better we will be, and really do it by example. We're starting a nonprofit, and it's already started, and we're designing the world's first disabled park with trout ponds, with on a river waterfall campsite with wildlife refuge, so that they can get out and experience what we experience. And that's some stuff that we're doing. It's really true and dear to our heart, is really giving back, and certainly SolidWorks. I mean, that was a program that we had, I think, 2 weeks to build, 3 weeks to build.
Yep.
And designing it, and the engineering team probably took a couple of days, 2 or 3 weeks, and it's on the floor a week later.
It's great. It's great. Great story.
Thank you.
So I said in the beginning, it's an incredible journey, and the doors keep opening up. The show's doing great. I know you have 8 vehicles on your website, right? They get smaller, and you have large ones, and there's
those are just the ones we can show you.
That's the ones you can show us. So what's next?
Well, we work with the private sector. We work with obviously the public sector and the military entities. And what's next is to expand. We're now.
Although Super Bowl Sunday, I caught a trailer for a movie, G.I. Joe.
Yes.
I seem to recognize some of these vehicles.
You might have.
You guys going Hollywood?
I can't talk about it too much, but all I can say is June 2012, be looking for a movie called G.I. Joe 2. You guys may actually see recognize some stuff in there. So we're expanding all over, doing the military stuff and Hollywood.
Yeah.
Very good. So we look forward to it. We congratulate you. We think it's great stories. We love the vehicles, and we're glad to be a part of it. Thank you.
Thanks, Darren. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, SolidWorks.
Wonderful crowd. Thank you.
Wow, that was really cool. I think it was pretty powerful how SolidWorks helps two brothers with a small company really compete successfully against Department of Defense giants in that industry and really win that business. So thanks, Mike and Jeff, very much. Originally, we were going to arrange for rides in the Ripsaw for everyone, but legal kind of put a stop on that. We didn't think it was the best idea. Each and every year, as a part of our release process, we have a big beta program. And it's really, really important to the quality and getting the software right for you, our users. Now, for many years, we've had a contest. And each and every year, that participation in that contest grows and grows. What we'd like to do for the first time this year is actually celebrate the winners of our beta contest for SolidWorks 2012 this year at SolidWorks World. So in the SolidWorks category, we actually had a tie this year. Our first place winners were Masanobu Higashino and Michael Mailoff. In our overall enterprise PDM category, our winner was Makoto Yamamoto. And for our SolidWorks simulation category, the winner was Andrei Almolsky. Congratulations and thank you to all our winners and all of our participants in the beta contest. Now, beta is a great example of community. And without community, this next customer we have wouldn't be in business. They've asked a simple question, which remains this company's manifesto. If we crowdsourced all aspects of product development, can we make invention accessible? Let's take a look.
We, as a people, must invent. Not because we need to find new ways to make money or to showcase our intelligence, but because it's part of who we all are. We get trains and we start building planes. We get computers and we want to make them personal. We get the internet and we want it faster. We as humans always expect better and are always thinking about what's next. But for centuries, the chances of you successfully inventing a product have been just about as slim as becoming an Olympic athlete, astronaut, or movie star. How could something so intrinsic to who we all are and so important to moving our world forward be so damn hard? It's time that we make invention accessible. It's time that we invent together.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the founder of Quirky, Ben Kaufman. Ben.
Hey,
Thanks, Ben.
thank you. There's a lot of you guys, wow. All right, so being that it's Valentine's Day, I want to start with a dirty little secret. I believe invention is human. I believe for humans it's absolutely impossible to go through a single day without encountering an inefficiency or a problem or inequality that you would then sort of try to find potential solutions for. I'm going to go one step further and say inventing is sort of like a reflex. It's so sort of intuitive to who we are that we just sort of do it and we're born with it. We are all inventors. Now think for a second about the inventors you know. You might know the sort of homebrew scientist, the garage crazy uncle with 37 patents who still lives with your grandparents. And then, of course, there's the crazy rambunctious kid with the cardboard and the styrofoam and sort of trying to make it all work. In fact, you all know of another group of inventors. There's, I think, 5,600 of you or something here. And that's awesome. But where on earth is everyone else? Where are all the other inventors? If inventing is truly a reflex, and it's something that we all do, where is everyone else? Well, they start out inventing, right? Because that's a reflex and that's how they do it. But then they stop. And they stop not because they want to, but because that's what the world infers they should be doing. They should stop. Now, why should they stop? Because it's hard. Inventing new products and commercializing new things is so damn hard. We all know the things that you need to sort of put together, but think about a single person doing all those things on their own. Accessing capital, knowing the right people, being multidisciplinary between design and engineering and merchandising and manufacturing, and all these different things need to come together just to push one brand new consumer product or product out into the real world. That's not okay. If inventing is truly human, and it's truly something that is intrinsic to all of us, why are we stopping? I don't know about you, but I like breathing, so I kind of want to keep inventing. Luckily, the accessibility of invention is something that's now sort of coming together. It's changing. I want to introduce you to a guy named Jake. That's Jake, goofy looking kid, right? Jake is from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And just a few years ago, he's 22 years old now. Just a few years ago, he was in high school. And he had a product idea. Now his sort of passion or path of invention started with NASA, like spaceship NASA, coming around to his high school during a summer program and saying, you know, we want to inspire inventors and creativity. Jake, you know, he had a good idea, but he couldn't really go anywhere else with it. He won the NASA product design competition, and they gave him a t-shirt. Jake couldn't commercialize a product with a t-shirt. So he stopped, just like everyone does. But luckily for Jake, the tides of invention are changing. We aren't like Howe and Howe at Quirky. We're not roboticists, but over the course of the past 18 months, we've built Jake an exoskeleton. We've built him an exoskeleton that's allowing him to breathe, that's allowing him to invent. That exoskeleton is built of two things: technology and community. Putting those things together has made Jake an inventor. So here's how it worked for him. In high school, he looked on the floor. And like all of us, he realized a problem, and a sort of something that was inefficient, that was part of his daily life, but wasn't all that great. He thought he could do better. He saw a standard household power strip. And like all of us, he's trying to fit those big power bricks in, and realizing when he fits the big power bricks in, it's blocking the port next to him. So he was just all pissed off, and he saw this NASA thing at school, and so he wanted to sort of invent. Now, as a high school student, his sort of first thing he would do to become an inventor was to obviously make a sort of trifold board like it was a science project. This is Jake's actual high school project. He defined a problem. He couldn't fit all of his power bricks into a power strip. He sort of understood the marketplace a little bit. What are the things that are out there, and sort of where do I think I could fit? And then he came up with a concept, how he intended to solve the problem. Now, he got the t-shirt from NASA, and that was fantastic. But then he stopped. He stopped for about 3 years while we were first getting Quirky started, and then he finally read about Quirky in an in-flight magazine on American Airlines. He read about Quirky and immediately went to Quirky.com. Literally every single week, people come and they come to our website and share their ideas. The mission of the company is very simple: it could be boiled down to 3 simple words: making invention accessible. Taking out sort of the realities and complexities that leave becoming a successful inventor up to your pedigree and your circumstance and just plain luck. So Jake came to Quirky. He submitted his idea pretty much in the same form that he did that trifold board. What's your problem? What's your intended solution? What category of business are you in? And what are sort of some key features that we can look at and define whether or not that's a great idea? Every week, all of these ideas sort of roll into our website. And they roll in on a consistent basis. On an average day, we're getting around 200, 300 new product ideas. Now, as these ideas are coming in, there's a community of almost 200,000 people. And they're voting and rating and commenting and enhancing and refining each other's ideas. And for Jake, he made it to Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon at Quirky is the most fun you could possibly have. We look at all the votes and all the ideas that came in a given week, and we literally crown new inventors, 2 every single week. So for Jake, his idea got a ton of votes. He made it to this Friday meeting, and of course, he was crowned Quirky product number 44 for his invention, the usable power strip. So here we are with a concept, but now we dive into probably the most collaborative of product design processes in the entire world. Jake's product went from, okay, does Jake have a good idea or not, to how are we going to make this thing real? We break the product development process off into multiple chunks. The first was research. How many people actually own a power strip? Turns out a good amount of people own a power strip. We go on to industrial design. Literally, now these aren't professional industrial designers. They don't have a comma IDSA after their name. But what they do have is some ideas and some sort of interesting concepts of how we can make a power strip actually hold all the things we want it to. So for Jake, he went in and sort of participated in this process. Even something as mundane in the product development process as naming a new product was helped by Jake and these 200,000 people, going in and literally naming what this product could be. Jake's product ultimately became known as the Pivot Power. Now, in each and every single one of these phases, people can sort of also participate on our mobile app, but they are literally posting ideas, voting, rating, and commenting. We probably have one of the more productive comment threads on the internet. People aren't just saying that sucks or that doesn't suck. They're saying round that corner and chamfer that edge. And you know what? If it was just one shade lighter of green, that would be a killer CMF of the product. Now, all of this is happening online, right? It's all happening in the digital world. These community members, most of them I've never met, but they're helping us develop great products. But they're not on their own. They're helped by what I believe to be, I'm a little biased, but what I believe to be the best industrial design and engineering team in the entire world at our headquarters in New York City. We literally have industrial designers and mechanical engineers literally standing there, sitting there in the office, looking at the board, seeing what's bubbling up to the top, seeing what concepts are sort of gaining traction in every phase of development, and then sort of honing all of that in and perfecting and refining it. For Jake, we figured out how to make a better power strip. It was to make it pivot. What you're looking at is our first object print of Jake's product. Now, we move forward. At Quirky, it's not just about what's the coolest and what's the best thing at any given time, but it's also about proving out that we're sort of doing the right things throughout the entire process. So for Jake, his product had to get through a pre-sale process. We actually sold close to 1,000 pivot powers prior to manufacturing and prior to spending a dime on the product. Luckily for Jake, his product was sort of on all the tech blogs and got a lot of steam because it turns out everyone has a power strip and everyone hates their power strip. So literally 4 hours in, Jake sold 1,000 units and we're off to the races. Now, what you just heard about was a great front-end process. A great front-end process that sort of cultivates the best ideas and then makes sure that through every phase of development, we're doing the right thing. But the most important thing I've come to realize at Quirky isn't the front end, it's sort of the back end. It's the back end of the product development process, and we have a great one. We have the object machine and all that fun stuff. We do have SolidWorks. I guess that's why I was invited here. But I our in-house engineers and designers are going through this entire process and making sure that we're not just doing all the glossy things that the world wants us to do at any given time, but also that the things that the world wants are actually feasible. And all of these tools allow us to do that. A quick thank you to Steve Mercurio at CADEdge, who came to my apartment in Manhattan. He was probably really creeped out. It was a third floor walk up. I was just starting Quirky, and told me about all the great tools they had to offer, and boy was he right. We do patenting on behalf of Jake and on behalf of our inventors. Pivot Power has a number of patents to its name. We got it certified and tested by the electronic testing labs to make sure that we weren't going to burn people's houses down. These are things that Jake wasn't going to be able to do with his t-shirt from NASA, but things that with the power of technology and community and us, we were able to do for him. On June 2nd of last year, we started producing Pivot Powers at a rate of 2,000 units every single day, and we haven't stopped. We've sold over 200,000 Pivot Powers in just the last 6-7 months. On every single cardboard box that travels around the world to all the countries Pivot Power sold in, recognize that goofy guy? That's Jake. He's on the side of every box. These are the boxes that get ripped off at warehouses and sort of distribution centers around the world. It immediately gets thrown in the trash. But why is Jake's photo on there? Because that truck driver and that stockroom professional that sees this product come out of the box realizes that, oh my God, if this goofy kid could do it, so could I. Invention is now accessible. This is Pivot Power in its retail packaging. Again, on the back of the box, the story of Jake is told. Now, we tell this story and we show off our products in the most grandiose ways possible. This is a 20-foot statement across Bed Bath & Beyonds around the country, a window full of Pivot Powers. And that's awesome. This was Jake's first check from us last year in April, $30,000. He's made over $150,000 in the past 7 months. He'll probably make close to $500,000 this year. And as you would expect, he's getting cocky as a result of it. In the beginning, I'd be like, hey, will you do an interview with me for Fast Company or something? And he'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever you guys need. Now he's like, well, I'm going to need more information. So anyway, Pivot Power is a great success story, and Jake is a phenomenal sort of realization of what the accessibility of invention can do to our world. But at Quirky, it's all about rinse and repeat. We actually develop 2 brand new consumer products every single week, regardless of what's going on in the world or what the sort of economic factors are. Every Tuesday at 12 and every Thursday at 12, that's Eastern time, we launch a brand new consumer product on Quirky.com. So what does this mean? Well, we now have 200, it's actually closer to 300 products in our portfolio right now. We're now at a rate where we're getting over 1,500, close to 2,000 consumer product ideas every single week to sort through and vet. Remember, we do 2 products a week, but we're now very seriously considering upping that. You can find our products at the top retailers in the country: Target, Bed Bath & Beyond, Toys R Us, Office Max, all these guys. And that's fun. But what does this all mean for the world of invention? What does it all mean for a world of engineers and developers? Well, let's start out with the best feeling in the world. Whether or not you just created a baby or a product, the best feeling in the entire world is saying, I made that. For me, that's how this company got started. I was on a subway in New York City with my prior company at the time, and I saw out of the corner of my eye a product that I helped make, that I invented. And that was the best feeling in the world. And I'm not kidding you, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have felt it. Oh my God, I made that. That came out of my face, and without me, that wouldn't exist. Now, to date, that feeling has been sort of left in the hands of people with the right tools, people with the right education, and people that are in a position of power with financing and all of these things combined. That's changed. Now, the feeling of I made that comes in the form of 140 characters. This was just a few weeks ago. I open the Target ad, and lo and behold, I see a product that I helped create. This was Pivot Power. Now, that was awesome, because this is some random person who I didn't even know helped create it. It wasn't Trevor Johnson, right? But he's claiming ownership in that idea. And the way he's done that is because we have this process called influence. Now, I'll explain that in a second, but our way of doing it at Quirky isn't the only way of doing it, right? Attribution is something so beautiful because it breeds evangelists, right? When you could say, I made that or I helped in that, you're more sort of inclined to help other people understand what's so great about it. The process of influence at Quirky is a true reward system. It is set up to properly define and identify how much of an impact you had over the successful development of our consumer products. At any given time, I know you were 2.3% influential, you were 0.7% influential, and you were 0.6% influential. You because you helped pick the colors, you because you found the name, and you because you voted on the idea when it was just in its infancy. Now, we tell that story throughout our entire process. This is actually the instruction manual for Pivot Power. After you get through all the things that tell you sort of how not to burn your house down and all the safety stuff, we actually have the names of the 709 people who helped Jake Zion bring his product idea into the real world. All of these people did different things, but they are all now able to say, I made that. They're able to claim ownership in it. They're able to tweet. They are able to say, I helped make that product idea a reality. We share our revenue back with these guys. 30% on direct sales off of Quirky.com, 10% on indirect sales. Think about what this does. This sense of ownership in your work, in your products. Literally, the amount of transparency that we have with our inventors and our community is such that they can log on via their mobile app or Quirky.com at any point and literally see, down to a fraction of a penny, how much their intellectual property was worth. I earned $1.25 on Cordy's yesterday. I earned 37 cents the next day. They can actually track whether or not our retailers have paid us on time, which is really great in getting retailers to pay you on time. Literally, they could go in at any point in time and see what's in our account receivables and what that would translate to for them. The boardroom's dead. It's just dead. And I like that. Because for some reason, the people of the world, the Occupy Wall Streeters, everyone in the world, right, they think that this is how decisions get made at companies. Yeah, man, good job. But that's not true. Decisions are now collaborative. The best ideas aren't coming out of the boardroom, they're coming out of the living room. They're coming from people all over the world that you've never met but are helping you make your products great. This is your future as a company. This is Andrea Zabinski from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. She's from the living room, okay? She came to Quirky and said, I hate having so many dishes at the end of cooking pasta. A strainer, a bowl, another bowl, a thing. She wanted to create a strainer bowl. Literally, when you need it closed, it's closed, and when you need to valve it open so you get all the pasta strained out, it's open. These are the types of things that companies like Cuisinart and all these guys would have never thought of if they weren't talking to Andrea. Now, I do want to sort of give you a little cautionary advice. When we talk about community and sort of community in general, I want to say that community looks like this for the most part, okay? This is community. This is what they look like, and they're all over the world. As great as their inspirational moments are and their aha moments, they still need your help. They still need the help of engineers and designers and professionals to sort of bring their ideas to life. And they cannot do it on their own, and they're not expecting to do it on their own. But as we sort of move into this new era of collaborative design, I want everyone to know that this is not a experts versus community thing. This is us all coming together and realizing the way to make great products is by putting this, the expert designer, with community and technology. That is what the future of product development looks like. It's not crowdsourcing. Crowdsourcing's all pull. That means that sort of experts are smarter than community or vice versa. It's about coming together and using the tools that you guys have as professionals and the sort of inspirational moments of community to make the best products in the whole darn world. That is proper product development. That is where the future is going, and you guys play such a huge part in it. We all invent, and again, it's like a breath. It's something that we all are born with. But we've stopped. And we've stopped because it's hard, and we've stopped because the world infers we should stop. But with all the tools out there and the power of community and technology, now we can go. Now we can do it together and sort of pick the best and brightest in every single field, come together and build these incredible things that you never thought were possible. I really appreciate you guys letting me be here, and I like SolidWorks. Yay. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Yep.
Thanks so much. Well, Ben, thank you very much. It was really a great story with some great designs, and really some ideas of how to bring new concepts to market very, very quickly. I encourage each and all of you to go ahead and submit an idea, because in the end, you never know. You never know if yours will be chosen. Well, we're finished a little early, so that's all for today. Sessions will start on time, but we saw a lot of cool customers and a lot about our community. We'll see you all tonight at the special event. I want to remind you to bring not only your badges, but also a photo identification. And go ahead and have a great day today. Go out there and learn something new and meet someone you never met before. Take care. Have fun.